Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess HD for the Wii U. And it's probably kind of a weird one to, do on Valentine's Day. And I could do some lame excuse like, well, I love Zelda games. But, that's not really why. It's sort of a kind of a bonus tie-in to the actual Valentine's thing I'm doing for a very special lady. I think you know who you are if you're watching this. This is probably the only way I'll get anyone to actually watch this is if it's you. Otherwise, it probably won't have any views. And I probably also, told you about the thing, so you're watching the thing now. And I wanted to do this because she is a Zelda fan as well. And, she also, she likes wolves. And, because in this game you get, like, a wolf link, and you got, like, the amiibo with this. So this doubles as, like, me being able to show off my amiibo and explain that thing. And I can also, I'll take this out of the shot when I'm talking about the game, so I'll know where to cut it in the editing. So it's even faster, because I'm recording this on Valentine's Day, because I'm late, and I stayed up all night to do this. I'm loopy as shit. I'm horrible. And if you want something that's more coherent than this, there definitely is going to be a written review linked in the description that you can look at, before, after, or, instead of this video review. But did I say it was written? I hope I said it was written and didn't say video twice. It's a written one. Anyways, I'm loopy. I'm crazy. I'm going to try to keep this together, though. And this is a little different because I did review Twilight Princess before. And I reviewed the Wii version, which is the one I had. So what I'm doing here, I guess, because that was a bit of a retrospective, kind of. Because I hadn't played it in a little while when I did that. And I feel like I didn't really, there were some things that I really think I should have praised a little more that I didn't. And some things maybe I should have been harsher on that I wasn't. And so this is going to be both a bit of a re-review of Twilight Princess for the Wii. Like, just Twilight Princess in general, I guess. And then it's also going to be, talking about the HD version and comparing it to the Wii version as the one I played. I haven't personally played the GameCube one. I'm familiar with it. I just, mostly like looking up certain details I looked up online to kind of confirm certain suspicions and things. And I've looked up things about that one. So there's a lot of information going in and out of my fucking skull. A lot of little technicalities and thingies to talk about. So again, highly emphasizing, recommending that written review. Because I'm sounding more crazy about it a second. And again, check out that. I'm going to try to not be very spoilery here, but I might be more so than in the original Twilight Princess review, so check that out. I'm also assuming you know something like about Twilight Princess in general and the Zelda series in general. So, I have earlier reviews to check out if you want to get more caught up on that stuff before you start into here. And I think that's plenty of yammering before the review. I think that's everything I needed to cover. So yeah, re-review, comparisons, HD version, all that shit. And let's get to the goddamn. So, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Oh man. Well, I guess we should start with just Twilight Princess in general, since it's the base game. And it's your typical Zelda kind of game, you go around in this open world. It's a 3D Zelda game. And you go out in this open world, you can find dungeons and caves and, towns, and there's secrets everywhere, like, different puzzles and, solving puzzles, fighting monsters, getting items to help you solve puzzles and fight monsters, and generally progress through the game. This is how a Zelda game goes. You can expect a lot of recurring items, a lot of new items. You can expect recurring characters, new characters, this, that, and the other. It's a Zelda game, and I think by now we know what a 3D Zelda game and just a Zelda game in general is going to be like. And again, it's Twilight Princess. So the general story, I guess if you don't really know, basic plot is you're Link, you live in this little village, and you're about to go out in this, go into the world for the first time, basically. And before you can do that, all of a sudden these monsters attack the village and kidnap these kids and this girl that I can assume, is probably the love interest. Probably the only person in the town that would count as Link's love interest. I would hope. I'm going to assume it is and hope that that's true. Otherwise, who else would it be, and how would that not be infinitely creepier? Anyways, so they get kidnapped, and you go out to try and rescue them, and that's like the main thrust of why you gotta leave the village this time. And when you try to go there, you actually end up in this weird, finding this weird dark, like, wall of darkness. You get pulled into it. Then all of a sudden you wake up, and holy shit, you've been transformed into a wolf. And then you find this, I guess her name is Midna, this kind of impish creature, who's totally not, oddly really hot for some reason. Definitely not. Why did you guys say that? Why did you guys bring that up? And she basically makes a deal with you that she'll help you escape this prison that you're stuck in because you've woken up in a prison on top of being a wolf. That's also important. That's important bit of information I should have said before introducing her. Anyways, and she explains her in the Twilight realm, and that's something you got pulled into, and that's why you were transformed by certain magic, and it explains some of that stuff. But basically, she makes a deal so that she'll help you get out of that prison as long as you agree to basically do what she says, because she needs your help. It's a thing where you mutually need each other's help. You then get explained stuff, and she basically becomes your guide character throughout the game. And then the game consists of doing things both in human form and in wolf form, having different abilities when you're a wolf, like being able to smell certain things, being able to dig underground, and being able to run real fast. There's just a little bit different abilities that the wolf gets to try and change up the gameplay a bit. And that's essentially the game. I mean, again, you're still doing the same Zelda stuff, it's just you have these two different forms to go through, and then there's the normal world and the Twilight world, so you have, it's kind of like a similar to the Light World, Dark World mechanic that was first introduced in, Link to the Past. A lot of stuff is pretty familiar, pretty familiar territory for a lot of it. Yeah. So things that I wanted to praise for this that I kind of missed out on, because I do generally like a lot of this stuff. I love Zelda games. Not a big surprise that I would like a lot of the stuff the game does. A lot of really cool items. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details and spoil all of what these items are, but there's a few items. One in particular I wrote an article on Whole World HQ, if you saw that. If not, you could go there and see it, maybe. And about one of the items. It is awesome, and I don't want to get into too many details and get all a big analysis thing, but there's a lot of really cool items in there, and I think the game, what it does really well too is this atmosphere of the game is awesome, where it's dark and it's serious, darker and more serious, I guess, than a lot of other Zelda games try to be, and which is a nice change of pace. And that works well with the character designs and how a lot of characters and the creatures look actually pretty ugly, and gross. And it's probably because the game is supposed to be it's supposed to kind of make you a little scared, but more unsettled and sad and depressed. So there's a lot of sad music going on. There's awesome music, a cool motif throughout the whole thing that's really catchy. It'll get stuck in your brain. But all that kind of comes together, and along with the visuals and the cutscenes and events that are happening in the game, all kind of come together in this way that make it very atmospherically depressing and sad and serious. And I think it does create a kind of a bleak world, and I think that's pretty cool because a lot of other Zelda worlds are more goofy or maybe weird. But they're usually a little bit lighter and happier than that, or at least in more doses here and there of different things. And this one seems to be very heavily focused on being serious and darker tonally, I suppose. And a lot of the cutscenes are really cool, very interesting to look at visually. A lot of cool stuff happening in them. It's a cool way of telling this story, and it's a fairly engaging story with stuff with Midna especially is really, really good, and the stuff that unfolds with her, you end up actually really caring about Midna as a character. In fact, after all this stuff, I probably would rank her much higher in my list of Zelda characters, but I'll have to redo that list someday now, won't I? But yeah, because she's very Like facial expressions and body language alone are very they're very expressive, they're very emotive, I guess, and they really make you feel for her in these different situations, and you kind of start growing attached to each other, even though that partnership is kind of forced because you need each other. You start to kind of grow on each other, and there's a lot of times when, you know, something happens, like Midna says something or does something or, you know, whatever, and then Link reacts, and his reactions are also very emotive in the body language and, you know, the facial expressions, as he doesn't talk, so, you know, that's kind of part of, you need that for him. And it was awesome because there were a lot of situations where stuff happened and Link responded the way that I felt, and that just made an awesome level of connection of, like, yes, like, this is, like, this game understands, like, not only is it trying to make me feel something, but it knows enough that I'm actually feeling that thing and making Link respond the way I would, and that was awesome. And, you know, I don't know, it just made me love Midna a lot more this time, because she's not, and again, she's a character. This is what's really good, is that she's a character. She's not just there to guide you, and then they try to, you know, make her somebody at the same time. No, she is an independent character that really doesn't necessarily even need you specifically, you know, at the time. It feels like she's just, like, using you because she can. And, you know, that's a really interesting thing and dynamic going on there, and it makes it feel more realistic than, you know, someone who just solely exists to guide you around because that's why they were created. That was their destiny the whole time, and, like, it's cool that that's not the case here, and I just really love that aspect a lot. Also, a lot of the boss fights, and some of the puzzles and stuff, too. There's a lot of really cinematic stuff, a lot of very scenic places, and a lot of cinematic, like, boss battles, especially, that have a lot of grandeur to them, and it just, that, along with the whole atmosphere of the game, and the cutscenes, and the artistry of it all, it feels awesome. Like, this game, and, like, that, and the combat, all this stuff comes together, and this is maybe one of the best feeling Zelda games, in terms of just, like, you know, you do stuff, and it just feels awesome to do it. Like, you feel really cool doing all of this different stuff, because the way it looks and the way it sounds and the way it just the way it kind of, you know, feels to control it and do that, it's just awesome. So, you know, major props for that stuff that I didn't really, you know, necessarily notice the first time around. And also the environmental puzzles, especially, too, that stuff, where you're just, like, running around the overworld and, like, you find, like, oh, like, look at this, and there's, like, this thing I can, like, kind of climb on over here. Like, let's see where this goes. Like, you accidentally, like, find secrets and treasures and stuff. And it's cool because it still looks, like, natural, and it feels like it's part of the world. It doesn't necessarily feel like all this stuff is necessarily just there for you to solve. It feels a little more natural for a lot of them, and that feels awesome. And they're optional, so you don't, like, have to necessarily do that stuff. And, like, it just feels cool. Like, the environmental puzzles, again, they were done in a way that made them feel really cool and to figure out and to find and just to do, and they make you explore stuff, which is great. This is great. A lot of stuff in this game was great, and is greater than I gave it credit for probably the first time. So I think those are the biggest ones I really wanted to, you know, to put out there. As far as, like, criticisms, I mean, I'm sure there are plenty. Ones that I kind of noticed more here that I probably gave a pass to before is that the cutscenes are kind of heavy in the beginning of the game, and that can be frustrating because you just want to actually play. Like, after you've been playing for a while and actual story stuff that's important, like, happens and you actually care, then it's cool. But the problem with some of that is that it's like, I've barely played this game yet. And the stuff I have played is tutorial stuff, and you keep interrupting me with people talking to me for a long time, and cutscenes, and it's like, fuck, I just want to, like, get out and, like, do something. I want to adventure already. Just let me go. Let go of the reins already. And while that stuff is cool in the way it's done and all, it does kind of wear on you. And that's stuff that really you shouldn't have to sit through in the beginning of your game. You should get to just start off and, like, play for a bit. And after that, you know, start building that story. And I guess it has to start building story somewhere, somehow. But it just feels like you do so little for that long amount of time that it can be kind of a rough start. Especially, you know, starting it over again once you've already done this stuff, like played the game before. It can feel a little tedious to do that, like a little extra bit of tedium if you've played before. Also, like, while a lot of stuff is scenic and, like, you know, there's the cool, like, scenes and all this, and, like, a lot of the stuff, like I say, it feels awesome. It's not really that hard to do. And that's one of the things, like, the game is kind of very easy. You can, like, up the difficulty, I suppose, and there's a few hard parts in it, but for the most part, it is a fairly easy game. Even for a Zelda game, it's pretty easy. I don't know, some people might complain about that, and I get it, like, gameplay-wise. Like, it's not going to challenge your skills super hard like that. It's not really going to be a super challenging game for most people, in the normal state, but, that's the trade-off for feeling awesome, I suppose, whatever you prefer. And I don't know, I think... then also the other thing that really miffed me was the idea that, like, it's just the thing where there's certain parts of the game where it becomes linear and you have to continue the story thing you were doing until that's done, and that's frustrating. Because sometimes you're like, okay, well, like, they want me to go to this place, but, like, I want to go, explore these other places around here right now, because I feel like exploring this shit. Because maybe I just got an item to get to this other thing, or maybe I just, maybe I've just, like, come to this new area and I want to, like, check it out before I go do the story thing. But then the game, instead of, like, actually blocking your progression in a way that makes sense, like, naturally, what the game does is just has someone tell you, no, you shouldn't do that yet. You should go do the thing that we told you to do, like, a minute ago. You should just go do that, because you'll forget if you don't do it right now, I guess, apparently. We can't tell you later to do it if you forget, because you can talk to Min at any point and be like, hey, what am I supposed to do? But, like, no, apparently you can't do that now. You gotta go do this thing right away, and after we're done with our whole story thing for right now, our little bit, then we'll let you go and you can play your game the way you want to again and explore in your adventure game. That's very frustrating. Because, like, I understand, like, well, I can't go to this area yet because, like, there's a wall here, then I need a bomb, but I don't have bombs. Or, like, hey, I need to, like, do, like, a hook shot thing over there, but I can't, like, hook shot over to it, because I don't have a hook shot. Like, that kind of thing makes sense because it's based on, like, going to places is a direct consequence of your actions. It's something you did. Like, either it's from your items that you got from progressing, and it's like, you have the ability to do it now. You didn't before, but now that you do, you can do it. Or the idea that, like, you did something that caused this chain of events to happen. And it doesn't feel that way. It just is like the game just tells you can't go here until a little bit later, and through no real consequence of your actions, now you can go do it because the game let you now. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel very natural, and it doesn't feel like it's up to you. It doesn't feel like you're in control of your destiny when it does stuff like that. And that bothers me. Not enough to ruin the game, but it does bother me. I think those are most of my main, like, gripes of that in general. Alright. So, the HD version, so changes, see if I can remember what all these changes that I thought of were. I might miss some might be really minor that I don't know about, like, because I haven't played the version. It's not like I played them back-to-back or anything, and it's mostly based on the Wii version again, so I do apologize for this, but some of the changes, let's see, well, you can play with the gamepad now. I mean, okay, the most obvious one, let's start at the very top, HD graphics. Obviously, graphics have been redone in HD, that's all, it's in the title. But yeah, you can play with the gamepad now because it's a Wii U game, which you can use to have you can have maps on there, or you can have your items on there to quickly, like, take them out and equip them, or use it for off-screen play if you would like. Then there's amiibo support. You can and the gamepad also has gyro controls for aiming, so, like, you can use the stick to aim and stuff. You can also tilt it around if you have gyro controls on and, like, use that to aim a little bit more. And you can also switch if you want to have it in first-person or third-person mode when aiming. So that's something. And yeah, there's amiibo support now. If you scan in a Link amiibo, you'll get a refill on your arrows. If you scan in the Zelda amiibo, you get a refill on hearts. If you scan in the Ganondorf amiibo, you get, I believe you take double damage. And then, if you have the, I believe it's a limited edition thing, or maybe it's just special edition, whatever exactly it was called. But you with the basically, if you get the version or get the amiibo of Wolf Link, which obviously you saw I got, you can unlock the Cave of Shadows, which is an optional dungeon similar to the Cave of Ordeals in the game, except that you play the entire dungeon as in wolf form. Then there's no healing items. It's a separate thing. Also, you save your game and then go into this. It's like a totally like separate like thing, pretty much. Except you do get an unlock for doing it. You get a reward for doing the whole thing that you can do in your game, but it's totally optional, and you're not like missing a whole lot if you don't get that in your game. So don't worry, it is a bonus. And basically how the Cave of Shadows works is that you start at the top every time, and you start going down so many floors. And there's an ending, and then after you hit to this point, you then are done, and the number of hearts you have remaining is recorded and saved, and then you can go in another time. And the next time you go in, you'll be able to. You have to start at the top again, but you'll be able to go down even more floors. And the thing is, even though you don't have healing items or anything, the whole new real like thing for that is that at any point you can scan in your Wolf Link amiibo again, and doing so will refill your hearts to the point that they were at the end of the last run. Or I don't know if it's necessarily the last run or your best run, or how necessarily it determines what is your best run or not. I don't necessarily understand all the logistics of that, but that's basically the gist of how it works. I mean, like, that's, you just do that until you can finally get through the run of the complete dungeon and go all the way down to the bottom and finish it. So that's basically that. What else is there? There's also integration of Miiverse stamps, usually replacing a lot of them. I think a few of them have new chests, but a lot of them are replacing rupees in other chests. And collecting them, of course, means that you can then use them to do posts on the Miiverse. They're just found throughout the game. And then there's, along with the rupees, there's a tweak of the way rupees work, where in the original, you had to, whenever you got rupees, if you couldn't fit them in your wallet, you put them back into the chest. But in here, it's made like, it's just been changed to the way most Zelda games work, where regardless of how many rupees you have in your wallet, well, whenever you find rupees in a chest, you'll just take them. That's that. I think that might be all the tweaks I remember that I can think of off the top of my head again, even after I just wrote the review like an hour ago. And there's also a new item. Like I heard they balanced, like they made it so there's less Poe souls for you to find. And also they gave you this item, like a lantern that helps you detect Poe souls in different areas. So there's also that addition, and that might be pretty much everything that I can think of. I guess you can start a hero mode at the beginning of it, which has you take more damage, hearts don't drop, and it's all mirrored like the Wii version was. Which I think I don't know if you had to unlock that in the other ones or not. But, yeah. Might be all the straight-up information that I remember at this juncture. And I like a lot of this stuff. I love that they put in the Miiverse stamps. Like, I don't fucking use the Miiverse, but the fact that they gave me another collectible to find that wasn't rupees that were probably going to go into my wallet that is already full, because, well, you don't really need rupees at a certain point. You're just accumulating the shitload of them. But I kind of like how it kind of helped with the rupee issue a bit with that as well. And I like that this gave me, more things to collect, and it's like, well, I can get these, and it's more exploration stuff, right? So I can just explore, and I need to find all these, so it makes me want to explore every nook and cranny of the game. The Poe Lantern made it a little easier to find some of this stuff, too. That was a nice little convenience to have. I do like the gyro controls for aiming and stuff, too. I thought it was kind of nice just to be able to, you have to, for larger sweeping movements, you use the stick, and then you need to adjust it just a little bit. You just kind of, wiggle around the gamepad a bit. That was fun. I usually use the gamepad screen to have a map on it, because, I'm not good at switching the stuff in combat really quickly, because I have to always look down and, look at the screen to do it. But I usually have the map there, since it's just bigger, it's, easier for me to see that map sometimes than it is to see the little map in the corner of the screen. There's also a smaller UI, I guess, which I forgot to mention, but that's a thing. It's kind of hard for me to see, but it helps see more of what's actually on the screen rather than trying to see all the stuff on the edges of what you have there. And stuff, there's a lot of this information you should already kind of sort of know. You shouldn't have to see super large anyways, and your eyes are probably better than mine, so you'll probably be fine. What else? I didn't do off-screen plays, so I can't really say much. I just used the gamepad for pretty much all of it. I did not use the Pro Controller, though you can. What else? I mean, I guess... I did like the Cave of Shadows thing. I like that it's kind of a bonus. I like that it's tough, and I like that it's giving you more of a reason to use Wolf Link, as, you know, there really should have been more Wolf Link stuff in there. Like, that was kind of a problem I had in the original, was, you know, Wolf Link slowly becomes less and less viable as the game goes on. It becomes less and less cool as Human Link gets more and more stuff, and Wolf Link just stays the same. So this gives you a little something extra to make Wolf Link feel like a little more part of the whole, you know, grand scheme of things. And, yeah, if you don't have the amiibo, you know, I mean, it's a good, I haven't used the other amiibo because I don't have the other amiibo to try with the other perks and whatever. I can see how they could be useful, I suppose, as well. And it's a good way to justify getting these little collectibles, even though you don't really need them and they don't add a ton. It's at least neat to have those, and, like, you get something for having it. Something somewhat significant, and I like that. And the graphics, I gotta say, I'm a little torn on the graphics, because I like that they're I mean, you can see further away, and, like, that's cool, especially for, like, bug hunting, the extra draw distance and, like, visual effects on everything. It's like, oh wow, it looks like I can see them from really far away, and they're, like, glowing in the distance and stuff. And there's a lot of great detail in here, and it's crisp, and it's very colorful and vibrant, and, like, I prefer that. Personally, that's awesome. I like that. I like the way that looks, because I like vibrant colors and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this game looks fucking awesome. But at the same time, I'm a little torn on that, because, well, the original looks, yeah, more drab. It was maybe not as, like, you know, it could have been fine if it was, like, HD, I guess, but, like, the original seemed like it was a lot more toned down. It wasn't as vibrant, and it was more dark and, like, drab, and it made more sense with the whole kind of dark, serious, depressing feeling and atmosphere in the game. It made more sense to have that, I think. And, I mean, that would have been a thing. That would have been nice. And, like, that's why I'm kind of torn on that whole thing. I can see whichever you prefer, I guess, but I can see both ways. I also, like I said, the amiibo, not that great of integration. Sometimes it seems like it'd be kind of annoying to have to go up and grab your amiibo off the shelf to do this bullcrap with them, but I don't know. Just because I'm not necessarily a fan of trying to do that stuff doesn't mean no one is, I suppose. The Poe Lantern is a little obnoxious in that sometimes it's just inconsistent, because, like, sometimes it lights up when there's Poe in a sub area rather than just Poe's in the area, and you don't really know if they mean in the sub area or not, because sometimes they don't light up for Poe in a sub area. So, you know, what do you trust? And another little tidbit I forgot to mention before, in the game in general, is there a way to do a day and night cycle to switch between those? I couldn't find a way, and I just had to wait a lot of times if it needed to be day or night. So having a way to do that would have been a good thing to either have originally or to implement here. But I will also admit one more good thing that I totally spaced in my written one even. There's a little button on the gamepad to switch from wolf to normal form, and that's so fucking helpful to have. Why was that not in the original? It's such a fucking helpful button to have. You just switch on the fly. Holy shit. But as far as, like, another, like, I think a really big downside to this, or, like, a big oversight to make this, like, the definitive edition of the game, is that there's no Wiimote and nunchuck support. And I think that's really, really, really bizarre, because it's like, a lot of Wii U games already have you using the Wiimote and nunchuck for stuff anyways, so you probably already have it. There's also, you know, if you have any Wii games on there, you need it for that. So, like, you know, why not also have that available for this? So for the few people like myself who actually kind of like that control scheme can still do it if they want to. And, like, I understand that maybe have to be a different mode, and maybe that wouldn't fit on the disc, or something. But then you could have had the big box thing that's bundled with, like, the amiibo and shit. Like, maybe sell, like, a limited run of ones that have a bonus disc with that on there. And even if it's not HD, even if it's just, like, reprinting the original Twilight Princess with there and shoving it in there too. Like, I would have liked that so I could play, if that, you know, the Wii version's controls. It would still be nice to be able to do that. Sorry. Excuse me. It just, it would be really nice because then you'd have the standard controller thing. You'd have the gamepad. You'd be able to play with the Wii U Pro controller. That's more like the GameCube controller. Possibly even let the GameCube controller adapter work with it. Why not? And then be able to have also the Wii version, and it would be like the definitive version to play the way you want to play in this game. That would have been really, really cool, and it's just not a huge deal, I guess, but I do feel like it is kind of a major oversight, given, what they could have done and trying to consider their audience, considering that a lot of people played this on the Wii rather than the GameCube. Okay, that's something to keep in mind, I suppose. Well, that's the game. Look, this game is great, don't get me wrong. Like, Twilight Princess HD is great because, well, fuck, it's Twilight Princess again. I mean, the game was already great, and 10 years after the fact, this thing comes out, which, yeah, apparently this was 10 years later. I didn't feel like that long to me, but it was. And this is great. It's still great because it's the same thing. It's the same base. And while I might have high praises and a few very harsh criticisms in some parts, it's overall a great game. It's great because you can also get into this, like, if you're a huge Zelda fan, like, you'll probably love this because of all the Zelda stuff it does. And if you're, thinking of, like, I want to get into Zelda, you want to see a good example of a 3D Zelda, Ocarina of Time might seem a little dated to you. Twilight Princess is probably the way you want to go. And either the GameCube version or this version are probably the ones you're going to want to go with because of, more normal control scheme, I suppose. And yeah, it's great, and I feel like I should have given it more praise before. And maybe criticize it harsher, but hopefully I did a better job this time around. And hey, I guess recommendation is the only real thing it's hard with this, because it's all over the fucking place. Like, if you don't have any version of the game, yeah, get this one. It's good. You might as well. If you have a Wii U, it's great. If you already have the Wii version, you don't need this version, I don't think. I mean, it would be nice, I guess, but I would say if you already have the GameCube version or the Wii version, you don't really need this. Unless, like, if you have the GameCube version and you want to upgrade to the Wii U and all you have is the Wii, then you can get this and not, miss out on still being able to play Twilight Princess. That's always a thing. I think GameCube versions of the game are actually hard to find, too. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's also like, yeah, the Wii version, I don't even know if it's in the eShop or not, but the Wii version is going to be cheaper if you want to do that and don't mind the idea of the motion controls. Or, hey, if you want to try the motion controls also, you can get them both and have the companion pack. And maybe that was why they didn't have the motion control thing in here with the Wiimote Nunchuck, was because then they could keep selling the original Twilight Princess for the Wii alongside this one. Maybe that was part of the thought process. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to recommend this. And of course, another little thing to think about is that also, if you already have one of the versions of Twilight Princess and you're like, I still want to check this one out though because I love this game, think of it as this, like this. You want a backup copy, right? Well, instead of just having two of the exact same copy, why not have, like, one of the other ones and then the HD one, and you're like, well, if one of them craps out, I can still play the other one, and then you have your backup. There you go. There's another way to work around that. It's great. And for, like, price-wise, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much it costs in this, because I got this as a present, but I would say even, like, $60 still seems a little high at this point. Unless you don't already have it. I think I might have got a price shop to $50 or something. That still seems a little high. It'd probably be worth it in the long run, based on how many times you'll probably, replay it. But, yeah, like, maybe try to find it for $40 if you can. It's a really good game to have, and it's hard to really try to haggle with you guys and say that I'm just a cheap ass. And if you get it with the amiibo and stuff, like, whatever, like, it's gonna be more, you know what you're getting into when you do that. But, definitely don't pass up the game. If you get it in some form, as long as you get some form of Twilight Princess, some version, you should have a good time. And as a fun question, what's your guys' favorite version of Twilight Princess? I've only played these two. I'm still kind of torn. I would probably lean towards this one because I can play it right now still. It's the one I played most recently. It looks really pretty. It's a little more convenient. I still would like to do the motion control thing and see if that's still fun, or if I was just, kind of just excited about having a Wii and then now I'll hate it. I don't know. I'd like to see. And I'd like to check out the GameCube version just because why the hell not, but I don't have anything to play it on right now, so that's probably not gonna happen. Probably not gonna happen. Fuck that. Yeah. And, I don't know. I guess I'll take this other opportunity right now to, just reaffirm this. Why is Imp Midnight really hot? Like, is it just me? Or is she, like, really hot? Awkwardly hot. Like I should feel bad about it, too. And I really don't. But I feel like you guys are judging me just because I don't feel bad about that. And because I feel that way. Does anybody get me here? Anybody at all? Boy, aren't you glad this episode is dedicated to you, the person I didn't specifically name? Bet you're glad I didn't name you now. That's everything, I guess. I don't know. Anything else you want to leave in the comments, go ahead. I'd love to hear stuff. Any stupid shit I missed or missaid or anything, that would be cool. I'm sure I missed tons of info. But yeah, written reviews, stuff in the description, and I also still have the box. I don't think it's going to prop up in there correctly after this. It's not really much point. Why did I keep the... But this was a display model. I didn't know that. Okay. Apparently it looks like it came from GameStop then with that sticker. I think that's them. With a little power symbol down there. Oh gosh. Well. Hey. God, I hope it was a good deal then.